All right, guys, what's going on? Welcome in. So it's week 2. The Jets are going to be taking on the Cleveland Browns in Cleveland, 1 o'clock kickoff on Sunday. It's a big game. Not only are they coming off a pretty brutal loss against the Baltimore Ravens, but Robert Saleh recently made those comments. We've all heard him at this point. He's keeping receipts on all of the doubters, all of the people that mock this team. Once the Jets start winning, you can't jump back on the bandwagon. So the Jets cannot go out there on Sunday in Cleveland and lay another egg. Okay, we look at the Cleveland Browns, definitely a tough opponent. Not only did they just take care of business against the Carolina Panthers, but I felt personally like the Browns shot themselves in the foot. They had their opportunities, they just didn't capitalize, and we're going to talk about that in just a second here. But we take a look at the Browns offseason. It was a busy one for sure, right? Adding Deshaun Watson, trading for Amari Cooper, signing Jacoby Brissett, trading for Chase Winovich from the New England Patriots, and they also lost a bunch of players as well. Baker Mayfield, JC Treader at center, and then of course Jarvis Landry as well. This is a kind of a new look Browns team. They have talent on both sides of the football, but because it's Kevin Stefanski, the idea, the philosophy, run the football, play good defense, not necessarily gamble the game away. They're not going to be taking, a ton of risks throughout the game. It's really just ball control. Let's pound the other team into the turf and force them to drive on our defense, right, in the limited time that they have to score points. By the way, they're actually unveiling a new midfield logo. Well, I guess an old midfield logo, the elf, which is just mad. It's one of my favorite logos, and it looks totally cool. But going back to the Panthers and Browns game, I don't want to say the Browns would have just absolutely annihilated Carolina if Jacoby hit on a couple of passes, but he missed some throws, in a clean pocket. There were a couple guys wide open, overshot him. He had a couple of overthrows. Not necessarily saying that all of them would have been touchdowns. I'm not saying the Browns would have had 4 or 5 extra TDs on the day if Jacoby just would have connected, but there were opportunities, and the Browns just didn't convert. With that said, though, once Carolina started to come back in the game, the whole Baker Mayfield, Robbie Anderson touchdown pass, that play was insane. It's not like Cleveland got, ruffled. It's not like they got flustered. They hung in there and they actually got the win. Carolina scored late, and personally, I thought, I didn't really have a lot of confidence in Jacoby to lead the Browns offense down the field, with a touchdown, a field goal, whatever it is. I just didn't really have the faith, but they proved me wrong. They went down the field. Credit Cade York hit a huge field goal to essentially walk off the Carolina Panthers. So Cleveland, they have the talent on both sides of the football. Kevin Stefanski, we know what they want to do. What can this Jets offense do to have success against this Browns defense? I think for me, getting the football out of Joe Flacco's hands quickly is going to be effective, almost using the short passing game as kind of an extension of the running game. So high completion percentage types of plays, really hitting a lot of screens to guys like Elijah Moore and Garrett Wilson, a player who was drafted in the top 10 this year, one of the best wide receiver prospects in the draft. Played in 6 plays in the first half against the Ravens. We're having guys slip. We're having guys dropping passes. 6 total plays for a top 10 pick at the wide receiver position. Let's get him involved early in the game, right? When he had opportunities, he made plays against the Ravens, but as a wide receiver, you're dependent on the quarterback. He has to throw you the football for you to make a pretty big impact, in the game outside of blocking. Okay, so, I want to see Garrett Wilson involved. I want to see Elijah Moore involved, hitting Michael Carter, hitting Breece Hall, just little slip screens, just getting the football out of Flacco's hands quickly. And the reason why I say that is because, Baker Mayfield and the Panthers offense, once they started just to do quick little, dink and dunks types of plays, it seemed like Cleveland didn't really know how to adjust because it happened on multiple drives. But also, the Browns pass rush is for real. Myles Garrett, arguably the best edge rusher in the game, going up against a position with the New York Jets, which is extremely thin. So George Fant, Max Mitchell, Grant Hermans, and Connor McDermott. That's the tackle position right now for the Jets. Okay. we don't have a lot of depth there. We don't have a ton of talent there right now, at least until Dwayne Brown comes back, but that's not looking like it's going to be for at least the next couple of weeks here, unfortunately. So not only are you just feeding your young playmakers, but you're also getting Joe Flacco in a rhythm early on, which is something that was not there at all against the Ravens. And I don't want to say you're taking Myles Garrett, you're taking the Browns pass rush out of the game, because I mean, you can never count those guys out, but think about this. Which play has more of a percentage of Joe Flacco going down with a sack? A bubble screen, a slip screen, a pass to the tight end on a quick little curl route for a gain of 5, 6, 7 yards to big bodies like Conklin and Uzama, or 8-step dropbacks where Joe Flacco is trying to climb in the pocket. That was another thing too. Baker Mayfield, the Panthers, whenever they tried to do this, these long 7-8 step drops, and you try to see Baker Mayfield step up in the pocket, I mean, it seemed like he was getting taken down virtually every time. So getting the football out of Joe Flacco's hands is imperative in my opinion. Also, I think it really limits mistakes as well when you have when the entire play is designed around one person, maybe a second person getting the football. Not a ton could go wrong as far as throwing an interception, throwing into double coverage, things like that. So when we flip it and look at the Jets defense taking on the Brissett-led Browns offense, it's too easy to say, oh, just stop the run. It's a run-first team. It's a run-heavy team. Just stop the run. Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt, that O-line, too much talent, okay? I think really the key for the Jets defense here, two things. Number one, I think the linebackers have got to be athletic. They got to be moving sideline to sidelines effectively. You look at where the Browns had success in the running game, it was to the outside. So if they can, limit the damage, really do a good job of making tackles in space and really just getting to the outside. Of course, if the defensive line can set the edge effectively, that'll be great. But, again, it's a lot easier said than done. So I think the linebackers' athleticism and horizontal movement is going to be huge in this game. And then when we look at the secondary, I think Reed and Sauce had, outstanding games given the circumstances against the Ravens. But if this entire secondary group, Whitehead, Joyner, Michael Carter included, and, even the substitutions that'll come in throughout the game, if they could force tight windows, right, making Jacoby Brissett's life in the pass game even harder, I think that'll really pay dividends. Let's face it, Jacoby Brissett is not Josh Allen. He's not Tom Brady. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He was missing wide open guys in pretty perfect, ideal weather against the Carolina Panthers. It can be done, right? You can get Jacoby Brissett to miss guys, or for him to, look at a target, be, in a position where it's like, I don't really feel comfortable. I don't really know if I can make that throw. Let me transition to somewhere else. I think if the Jets can do that a lot, there'll be opportunities for maybe an INT, and a lot of, not necessarily 3-and-outs, but a lot of punts. So, with that said, you can't just overlook Jacoby Brissett when we look at backup quarterbacks as a whole. When we're, let's just say, ranking all 32 backup quarterbacks, I would say Jacoby's towards the top end of that list. He's definitely not one of the worst. He has the potential to win games, just like last week. Led the Browns offense down, got the game-winning field goal here. He could throw strikes. He has a good enough arm. And when he has time in the pocket, especially over the middle of the field, short passing, intermediate over the middle of the field, I feel like that, and where he could put a lot on the pass, that's where I feel like Brissett shines. But it seems like passes that need touch and everything like that, like where he has to float them, that's kind of where the accuracy goes downhill. But we'll see how it all plays out. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. By the way, the Jets, I believe, are getting 6 points in Cleveland, so considered pretty big underdog. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. I appreciate it, and as always, go Jets.